These 4 themes are literally the blueprint for what it is I'm supposed to be creating, doing, building. And I know that this is the key to unlocking a reality that's bigger than my wildest dreams. Hey friends, I'm Tiff and you're listening to That's Real, a podcast about creating the lives we want, not just the ones we were told to live. I'll be sharing everything I'm learning to live my life on my terms and hopes to inspire you to do the same. Let's redefine what's possible together. Hey party people, welcome back. I'm your host, Tiff. Your hype girl, hype woman. Honestly, I feel like I'm trying to figure out what my tagline is, but something around there. But welcome back. Over the past few months, I've been feeling really stuck, or I will say I was feeling very stuck. Just in terms of I feel like there's this dream, this vision that God has placed on my heart that I'm honestly still trying to clarify. But at the same time, know I'm supposed to be working towards it, but haven't been super clear on what steps to take or how to move forward in it. And I was really, really down on myself about it for a long time. Just feeling like I know I could be doing more. I know I'm capable of more. I know I could be creating more, but God, what is it that you want me to do? So if any of you guys have been feeling this way, just feeling kind of stuck in your current reality, not to say that it's a bad reality, right? Because I'm grateful for the life that I live today. I'm doing a lot better than I was, I would say, even a year ago or 2 years ago. But there's just been this yearning to do more, to accomplish more, to just work towards this vision and this dream that I know God wants me to work towards. So if any of you guys have been feeling that way, you are not alone. You can raise your hand, nod your head. If you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up, because I do think that there are a lot more people going through this than we realize. Because when I was kind of feeling super stuck, and I'm grateful to say that I'm now coming out of that, I was kind of like, oh my God, it feels like everyone else has it figured out and I don't. And I'm telling you guys, that is just not the case. And so when I started to notice that day after day, I was just feeling this way, I was like, Tiff, you got to do something about this. I got to the point where I was just, for lack of a better word, over my own shit and started asking questions why, what is it that I'm here for? What am I supposed to be doing? And what I noticed was the more curious I got, the more clear I started to get. Because the truth is, friends, I'm building something great and it's something that I've always known to be true about myself. And I have a feeling if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, that you're in the process of building something great too. Even if it doesn't feel like you are, I promise you, after listening to this episode, you will start to realize that you actually are building something great. I think every single one of us is. Because honestly, when I look back on my life, I can see that I was building even when I thought that I wasn't. Even that period of me being super stuck, it's all a part of a bigger picture. So I wanted to bring you guys this episode to kind of workshop through with you a prompt that I was given not too long ago that really helped me clarify what it is that I'm here to do so that I can start to work towards a path that will lead me to my wildest dreams, will lead me to that vision that I know I can achieve. Even if I don't have all the answers yet, because, even though I keep saying, this dream and this vision, I'm not even sure if that's super, super clear yet. But I know that I keep getting these nudges that are pointing me in a certain direction. And just through what I've been learning, I'm like, wow, I can start to see kind of like the pillars of my life and what it is that I'm working towards. So this episode is meant to help you get unstuck and to help you realign with what it is that you are here to do. So I was at this retreat about 2 weeks ago, and, it was put on by this organization called With Creators, an amazing organization that's all centered on, building community. It's also like a creative studio. It's super cool. So at the retreat, they gave us this prompt that literally blew my mind. I had so many breakthroughs, okay? And it's a prompt that I'd love for us to workshop together. So the prompt was, what is something that has constantly mattered? What do you find yourself returning to through work, conversation, or creative expansion? And when I worked through this, four major themes popped up that I know is what I'm supposed to be moving towards and is a part of my bigger purpose, my calling, all of that. So as I'm going through, what my four big themes were, I'd love for you guys to think about what those are for you. So the first major theme that I noticed has been a constant in my life is navigating life. Like, throughout my life, honestly, since I was pretty young, like middle school, high school, I've always just sought out wisdom to help me navigate my life on my own terms. And I feel like there have been a lot of times in my life where I've just felt super stuck in my current reality, which is really funny because that's kind of like the basis of this episode. But I've always felt myself feeling really stuck and like feeling like there's no way out. So I always kind of looked for methods and wisdom and books and inspiration and all of the things to kind of help me figure out, okay, how can I really live my life on my own terms and really just go after the things that I want or attract the things that I want. And friends, this started at a really young age. Like, I must have been maybe a freshman in high school where a cousin had put me on to The Secret, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with The Secret. It was huge, 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 huge years ago. It was a movie, it was a book, and it was all about attracting the things you want into your life. And when I was put on to this book and this movie, it was like I unlocked something within myself and just became obsessed with it. Honestly, to the point where in college, I did an entire presentation on The Secret. And I just wanted everyone to know about it and everyone to learn from it and everyone to use the tools in it. Like, that's how obsessed I was with this practice of getting what I wanted out of life, I guess you could say. And that later turned into when I moved to San Francisco and was just having a not so great experience in the workplace and again feeling stuck in my reality. I was put on to Gabby Bernstein, which again, in the same realm of just personal development and, uncovering your purpose and whatnot, and became obsessed with her books. And I would go to her workshops when I was living in San Francisco. And I was obsessed. And I was so obsessed with this that, I was just going by myself. Like, I didn't really care if my friends were interested in it or not. Like, it was just something that I really wanted to do and I wanted to do for me. So I would go to her workshops. I was also obsessed with Iyanla Vanzant at the time, and I would go to her workshops too. I remember going to she had a show in San Francisco at like this huge theater or something, and I was like, I have to go to this. Brought my notebook, brought my pen, sitting there by myself, and I was just taking in everything that she was sharing about life. And then after that, I got hooked on, Jay Shetty and his On Purpose podcast, and, like, there's always been this theme of me really diving into just personal development, inner work, and really, again, just trying to discover and figure out what am I here for. And it's funny because this is literally what my podcast is kind of now about. So yeah, that theme of just navigating life has been a big one for me that just constantly finds its way back into my life. So now the second theme that has just constantly found a way to present itself in so many different situations is this fixation around my voice. So when I was younger, I had a super raspy voice and I hated it. I hated it so much. I felt like I just sounded so different from everyone else. It didn't feel cute to me. It didn't feel girly. It just felt like, ugh, like just this raspy voice that I couldn't stand. It honestly makes me sad to even think that I felt that at the time, but, when you're young, all you wanna do is fit in and belong, like, you don't wanna be the one that stands out. So now let's fast forward to college. Shout out to HU. Yes, I'm a Howard girl. And I'm just, in the hallway talking to one of my friends, and this professor walks by and is just kind of like captivated by my voice. And he turns to me and he's like, "You're the girl with the voice." And I'm like, "What?" Like, I literally don't, I'm like, "What? Uh huh. What does he mean by that?" So now let's fast forward to when I went to Ohio for a friend's wedding. A few friends and I went out to eat and we were all waiting to be seated. I'm just talking to my friends, we're catching up, and the waitress comes and she looks at me and she goes, "Was that you talking?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my gosh, your voice. It's like you should have a podcast or something." And friends, this is before my YouTube era. This is before, like, I think I was probably on Instagram and doing the whole blogging thing, but, I wasn't on YouTube. I surely didn't have a podcast yet. And I was kind of like, wow, this is so interesting. But at the time, I hadn't put everything together about how other people had commented on my voice in the past. Then I eventually launched a YouTube channel. And I will never forget this. I think I had my channel for maybe a year or 2, and I had gone back home to Boston for Christmas, and I was in Nordstrom with my mom and my aunt, and, we're just looking for gifts and presents and stuff, and this girl is checking out, and as I'm talking to my mom, she turns around, and she goes, "Are you Tiff, like Tiffany Davis from YouTube?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my god, I recognized your voice. I've been following you. I've been following your journey in Paris." I was shook to my core. Okay. And honestly, even with all of this YouTube podcast stuff, I'm always like, wow, this is insane when people come up to me and recognize me. Like it would happen in Paris sometimes. It's even happened in LA. And honestly, it's what encourages me to keep going. So if you ever see me out and about, please, please, please come say hi. You have no idea how much it means to me. It really just makes my day. But yeah, that was wild. She was like, "I recognize your voice. I'm in the middle of Nordstrom in my hometown, and this girl turns around because she recognized my voice." Just wild. Just wild. Then, I find myself living in LA, which is where I currently live, and I decided to go to this. It was kind of like a beach walk slash meditation slash yoga, which you guys know is my jam. And there was a part of the event where, you kind of broke off into groups. And I can't remember what prompt they gave us, but you were kind of just supposed to talk about, I think, what it is that you feel like you bring to this world or something like that, or how you help and how you serve. And, I'm just sharing, what's on my heart and whatnot. And a few people were kind of like, "I feel like I recognize your voice. I'm not sure if I can pinpoint it, but your voice just sounds familiar." And I was just kind of like, "What?" Because at this point, I was thinking about starting the podcast and kind of starting to organize myself to launch it, but it wasn't yet, the vision wasn't exactly clear yet. It was just kind of something I was thinking about and trying to figure out. And I turned to them and I was just kind of like, "Guys, I've actually been thinking about doing a podcast and all of this stuff." And they're like, "You have to do it." But I was just like, wow, like there's always been this theme around my voice. And I'm sure I have other examples that I just can't even really. Oh, you know what? There was actually this other time where this is at the time when I had, I don't know, maybe a year after I had launched on YouTube, and I would see these comments just about my voice and how it was soothing. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, huh? So yeah, friends, this theme around my voice has been a pretty big one. And I feel like doing this podcast is a way that I'm, I guess, sharing my voice, using my voice, but it's been a big one for me. Definitely a constant. So now, okay, the next one, number 3, is this theme around having a personal brand. So I definitely felt this spark and this knowing that I meant to have a personal brand during college. So I was in team leader training And one of the sessions was around your personal brand. Not in the way that we see it today, though. It was more so in the way of how do you present yourself? Like, what are the words that you would use to describe your personal brand? But there was something about when the professor said, like, these words, your personal brand, that, like, this feeling took over me where I was just kind of like, I know I'm meant to have a personal brand or that I am actually a walking personal brand. Like I am a brand. It was this feeling that I've had a few times in my life about other things too, but it hit me so hard that I was just kind of like, okay, this is meant to be in some capacity. I have no idea what it's going to look like or what it's going to be, but I know that I'm meant to have a personal brand. I felt it deep in my soul. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced a moment like that where someone says something and you're just like, okay, I know this is meant for me. I know I'm going to do that. Then it turned into, me having my own blog. I had like a fashion blog when I was in school. Then that turned into me wanting to be a stylist and actually having my own business as a stylist, which I'm not sure if I've ever really talked about. I don't think I really talked about that in like past YouTube videos or anything like that. But in college, I was so obsessed with fashion and style that I just knew I was gonna be a stylist and that I was gonna have my own brand. Well, I actually built my own brand around it in college, and one of my professors was actually my very first client. Like, I was very much like, "This is my business, this is my brand." Then it turned into, "Okay, am I gonna be an influencer?" And, like, literally, I remember when I was living in New York and trying to figure out next steps in my career and trying to decide, "Okay, like, do I wanna move abroad to go to this school, this MBA program, or do I want to stay in New York?" I was trying to figure it out. And I had saved up a bunch of money and I was kind of like, okay, I'm either going to use this towards the MBA program or I'm going to use it to buy a bunch of clothes and basically become an influencer. But again, when I was abroad, I did develop a personal brand, with the whole being on YouTube and then having the classes and courses to help people navigate life abroad to now having a podcast and, growing my influence and all of that. It's just, there's always been this theme of me building a personal brand. And this prompt that I'm now sharing with you guys about, what have been the constants in your life really helped me realize that. Although my personal brand hasn't looked exactly the same in each chapter of my life, it's always been a personal brand. Wait, I'm kind of like freaking out right now. It's kind of crazy. And so then the last theme I would say has definitely been something that just keeps presenting itself in my life is my creativity, my style. You know, Again, since I was very, very young, I've always been obsessed with having a personal style. And for me, it really started with fashion. From very, very young, I remember being so excited about back to school clothes shopping. So every summer, the end of the summer, my mom would take my sister and I back to school shopping where we would just get to pick out, what our first day of school outfits were going to be. What did we want our look to be that year? Like it was to me the best thing ever. And whenever we would come home from back to school shopping, I would have to like put all of my outfits together and do a fashion show for the entire family. And everyone would have to sit there and watch me model all of my outfits. Like, it brought me so much joy. I was always so excited to do it and just, like, put my different outfits together. Like, it was my jam. And I feel like it's developed over the years to not even just mean my personal style in terms of the clothes I wear, but, how I edit my videos or how I approach content creation or just how I even my style of writing, sometimes I would think. Like, I just think there's this theme around creativity and just funny because I mean, the definition of creativity is self-expression. So I feel like we all are creative in our own ways, which in a way is all of us just expressing our personal style, I guess you could say, or having a personal style. I think that's a better way to say it. But it's always been a constant in my life. And I realized that again through doing this prompt. So I'm going to say the prompt again in case just, through listening to this, it kind of got lost in translation. But again, the prompt was, what is something that has constantly mattered? What do you find yourself returning to through work, conversation, or creative expansion? So, what does this look like for you? And it doesn't have to be four themes, it can even be one major thing, like whatever it is. What has been a constant in your life? Drop it in the comments. You can shoot me a DM if you're listening and not watching this on YouTube, and let those be the building blocks to whatever it is that you're creating. Because I know for me, these four themes are literally the blueprint for what it is I'm supposed to be creating, doing, building in this life. And I know that this is the key to unlocking a reality that's bigger than my wildest dreams. That vision that God has for me. I just know it. I just know it. So friends, I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to hear what, the themes are in your life that you're realizing are what you're supposed to be working towards. So, thank you as always for listening, for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review if you're listening to this. But it's been so fun to share this part of my journey with you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.